Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of The Guido Goes Off. Again, I thank you folks for watching. Um, I know I haven't done a show in quite a while due to technical difficulties, real life difficulties, and I have been working on doing some shows, definitely some lighter material, um, because as always, try to have a good time doing this show, try and make it a good time for you to watch. And it's things that have come about, like I was coming about this afternoon. Um, Definitely not funny or light or should be taken lightly by any stretch of the imagination, but um, it's kind of things we need to talk about. Um, because not only does it involve the career of a wrestler that is um, liked, loved, and respected, um, as you know and you can probably tell, this person's been one of my personal favorites over the last few years. Um, but I feel it does need to be talked about. It's things that can come at the worst time. So I'm going to get right into it. It was reported by PW Insider's Mike Johnson um, earlier today that, according to reports, WWE officials um, are not only reporting, are not only not clearing Paige um, for the Women's Royal Rumble in 2 weeks, but according again to these reports, um, Paige has been advised, or officials have told her that essentially her in-ring career is over. Um, I did read also that it was confirmed by several sources via Ryan Satin on Pro Wrestling Sheet. Um, Again, as of the time I'm filming this, there has been no word from either Paige herself or WWE in regards to the matter. Um, there's, again, this is, nothing's been confirmed by them. So I don't know if they're waiting until the 25th anniversary episode of Raw this Monday um, to give her the big send off as far as her in ring career is concerned. Um, but like I said again, there's a lot of people that are waiting for that um, to happen as far as these reports are concerned. It's been well documented. About two and a half weeks ago during a house show. I think it was in Uniondale, Long Island. Paige was wrestling in a 6-woman match. It was Sasha Banks, Bayley, and Mickie James versus Paige and the other two members of Absolution, Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville. During the match, Paige took a kick, a double leg kick from Sasha Banks in the upper back. It looked like she was not prepared for the bump. It caused a whiplash effect, which brought her to the which led to her crumpling to the mat. Um, she then started shaking her hands, trying to get up, but was having difficulty. And then the ref just had her lay back down and stop the match. She did walk out of the arena under her own power. It was said that she was taken off the road, or she was taken off house shows simply for as a precaution. As we know, this past, as it was said, it was a stinger. Nothing terribly serious, but given the fact that she had come back from a neck injury, of course, erring on the side of caution. Last week, or this past Raw, it was speculated she was supposed to be cleared back for to come back to in-ring competition, and she was not cleared. According to these reports, they did not clear her, and they were going to have her undergo more testing. Now, this is again according to these reports. Now, I know a lot of places have been reporting this, and I'm mentioning these two sources because, in all honesty, I actually trust them. But again, we haven't heard anything, so that glimmer of hope, if you will. But I said she was given the news today. Now then, it says per WWE officials. It doesn't say. It doesn't say doctors. It doesn't say which officials. It simply says that, depending upon what source you read, that it is they have officially pulled the plug on her in-ring career, or it is that she has been advised to never wrestle again. Again, this is something that couldn't come at a worse time. As we know, Paige was out of action for 500 days, and we all know what happened in those 500 days. The bouts with the bouts with the wellness policy, her two violations, her relationship with, and of course the league. As I've said before, it's and compound with the injury. As you know, neck injuries are nothing to sneeze at. Coming back from them is it's a long road. Remember, these were injuries that even 20 years ago would end a wrestler's career. But modern medicine has advanced, and she was able to come back, helping to launch the career of two women in the process. And now, to have this happen, there is still a lot of questions asked. I know a lot of people are saying that Sasha did the kick on purpose. Um, Again, that's maybe something we'll never know. Um, but the fact remains that there's a lot of people, myself included, holding out hope that these are just rumors, that it's folks jumping the gun. Um, I know there is a lot of, um, you know, now it's coming from sources that have been reliable in the past as far as things WWE related are concerned. But again, um, I don't know if we'll find out anything prior to um, Raw, or if we'll find out on Raw. Um, but again, like I said, this is coming at quite possibly the worst time, and uh, with a woman that wrestling is pretty much her life. You know, her family is wrestlers. She grew up in the business. And she came to WWE um, at a time when women's wrestling was an afterthought, was a you know pretty much a joke. As when she was hired by WWE, this was the time of the models, where you had the likes of Kelly, Candice Michelle, Bella Twins. Um, Very few were serious about making wrestling as a career. That their goal was to use it as a stepping stone, to get into Hollywood, to get into music, things of that nature. Um, but the simple fact is, um, it's the culture. Paige rewrote what it means to be a women's wrestler. And at least as far as WWE is concerned, I know WWE's been behind the curve as far as women's wrestling, regardless of what they want to tell you. Um, there are a lot of incredibly talented women's wrestlers. Um, and then, you have, and this all stems from the days of the Attitude Era, where you had the likes of Trish Stratus and Lita um, inspiring this current crop of women. Um, and even going back so far as, the lineage of the likes of Sherry Martel, um, Mae Young, Fabulous Moolah. Um, at a time when um, women were trained with men. Women had to be as tough as the men. And you now have not only where a culture in the biggest wrestling company in the world, where women's wrestling is not just an afterthought. It is at the forefront. It is celebrated. In the last few years, we've had our first women's Hell in a Cell match. We've had our first women's Money in the Bank match, and here, um, in a little less than a couple of weeks, we have the first ever women's Royal Rumble match. Um, and Paige was a catalyst for all these things. where the term diva was dropped, and women are called superstars. It's not really a, you know, it's just a shame that if again, if this is to be true, not only given what's going on in her personal life, that she's not able to celebrate and really bask in what she helped to create. I mean, you look at this current crop of women's wrestling. I mean, the likes of Alexa Bliss and the Four Horsewomen. Um, there were many that um, were there, that are there because and are able to be better performers. Um, take wrestling more seriously and you know break down these barriers that as far as booking, as far as support. I know there's still the old boys club where women's wrestling is an afterthought, and where it's a gimmick or a sideshow like midget wrestling, wrestling bears. I don't think they do that anymore, but these were those things. But now it's taken seriously that these women are becoming stars, and they're getting closer and closer. Still, of course, the ultimate goal for the women's division is to headline WrestleMania, and I believe that will happen. I believe it'll happen soon, and you were kind of hoping that Paige, given her, given the work she put in to come back, not only the work she put into making it to WWE, to making the women's division what it is now, but to get it to an even higher level. And like I said, it just sucks that this had to happen. If again, like I said, I'm holding out hope, but hope for the best, prepare for the worst. And then I look on Twitter, seeing the overwhelming support for Paige, and it's good to see this, because fans, people in the business, wrestling journalists, I've seen things from various people, various sources, even perhaps some people that normally try to look at this with that panoramic view, are reaching out to Paige, are saying, showing their support of Paige, that even if this is the end of her in-ring career, even then it doesn't necessarily mean she's done with wrestling as a whole. As we know, there's ways you can be a part of wrestling and not actually wrestle. And but the fact is that you work so hard to make a comeback, and then this happens. It has to be heartbreaking. But again, um, sorry. Again, it just sucks. It just sucks because despite everything that happened, everyone was uh, rooting for her return, and it came, and people uh, were supportive and cheered for her and popped for her and really liked seeing the fact that not only she came back as listen of course to that the Chasing Glory podcast of how down she was with things. Um, I said before the fact that this is something that could break anyone, and it almost broke her, but she's still alive. She's still with us, and she came back from that. Not only still with us, but she came back to WWE, back to wrestling, back to what she loved and what she has wanted to do. And it just sucks. Someone saying that, you make this comeback and then people are saying, well, you can't do it anymore. I mean, we've had these situations before, such as, with Daniel Bryan, with Edge. As we know, um, it, but like I said, as always, this is still, there's been no reports, at least as I am, as I'm recording this, kind of checking my phone here. Um, but, again, more details, as they're coming, as it's, as we find out more. Um, so, of course, I want to know your thoughts. Um, you know the drill, as far as that's concerned. Um, I hope to be doing some more shows now that everything's back up and running, and hopefully, um, uh, go back to the lighter side of things. Um, be funny, be witty, be entertaining. Um, I hope to do that here fairly soon. Um, but I've said it 100,000 times. You guys know what to do. So until next time, I'm the Guido, and I think we're done here.